So good morning, everyone. Welcome at our second training session on the posting declaration portal, which is called the follow-up training session. A follow-up training session due to the fact that we are taking stock of the testing phase of and your experience with using the testing environment of the portal. My name is Iwona Kasprzyksova, and I represent the European Labour Authority, which together with the European Commission, and namely DG Move and DG Digit, are the hosts of today's meeting. Before I give the floor to my colleagues from DG Move and DG Digit, let me briefly provide you with some basic information about the training itself and about what we as ELA and the Commission are doing to support you before the new rules become applicable. So let's start with the training session. Today we host again around 200, or we are expecting more than 200 participants, representatives of the road transport operators, who in vast majority participated in one of the slots in December. However, we also have some newcomers, some new participants, to whom we strongly recommend to watch the video recordings of the previous session in December. That are available on the European Labour Authority channel on YouTube, that are also in 14 language versions, as the list of languages that were to which the interpretation was provided in the previous sessions. And these are the exact same languages that we provide also in this follow-up training session. So the reason to invite you to watch the video, if you have not done so, is that we will not repeat the same information that were presented in December. We will today, as I said, take stock of your experience and your questions with regards to the testing phase. Let me also pass to and shortly remind you of the housekeeping rules, and I will ask our technicians to change the slide. So next slide, please, where we can see what are the rules so that the meeting goes smooth. So, of course, the first and most important rule that everyone is already acquainted with is to mute yourself. So in order for the meeting to be smooth, please mute yourself, and also rename yourself with an acronym at least of the member state you represent, or the you come from, sorry, or the organization you represent. Then, in order to take the floor, please raise your hand to ask the floor. If you want to ask the question, there will be a lot of time for the questions to be asked. And also do not forget to lower your hand afterwards. And you do that on the lower bar where you have, if you look on the screen, you have at the lower bar, you have a bar of some icons, and there is an icon of reactions, so you can tap it there. We also invite you to use the chat, but if it's possible, please first try to ask the question in the plenary. And if you use the chat because you have not been given the opportunity to ask your questions, please try to ask the question in the chat in English. Then we also have 6 languages of interpretation today, which are Polish, German, Latvian, Lithuanian, Portuguese, and Spanish. We strongly recommend to choose the language that you would like to use before you speak, so that the interpreters, but also everyone else, is prepared for the translation. Since we have this list of long list of languages, we would like to ask you, especially the speakers, to speak slowly. It is extremely important for the interpreters, so please be so kind. Next thing that I would like to mention is about the recording and publishing of this video as well. As you know, we have published a list of videos from previous sessions, and we would like to do the same with this training session in order to keep the recording of very important information that you could be using also when spreading the knowledge to your members of your organizations. So should there be any objection to recording or publishing, please let us know either via email or by speaking now. When it comes to I don't see any objection, so I understand that we can proceed with the recording and the publication afterwards. When it comes to the agenda, it will shortly be presented by my colleagues from the European Commission. So let me now pass to some information about the training materials that Ella and the European Commission will be providing. So please, next slide. The previous one, sorry. If you couldn't go, yes, exactly. So we have already started as the European Labour Authority with provision of some basic links and information for you that could be useful at this stage, the preparation stage before the rules come into force. So you can, if you go to our website, the European Labour Authority website, you see the address of the website on your screen. You go to the tab topics, and then you find the road transport tab, under which you will find different links to the information and training sessions that we did together with the Commission, and also the presentations that we presented during these training sessions. You will also find some links to the legislation that is in force that regards you, and also some links to the page of Your Europe and DG Move page, which will be the let's say one of the main sources of information about which definitely my colleagues will be speaking to you about. And the next slide, the final slide, which is regarding the yes, the YouTube channel of Ella, where we already posted, as I said, 14 versions of the previous training session. We invite you to watch them if you have not done so, but also to spread the news about them. So as you can see, the version of the training session of December are differentiated by the title in the language of which the video is on. So practically, you will also find the information about that on our social media channels. Ella is present on Twitter and on LinkedIn, where we post also some news about, new videos posted on our YouTube channel, or some news about road transport that we post on our website. So I invite you to follow us. And I also invite you to, in case you have any questions, to write to us. I will write in the chat the email address, the functional mailbox that Ella created in order to communicate with you on the road transport issues. So the training will last for around 2 hours. In case we need more time, it could be, if needed, prolonged to 2.5 hours. And without further ado, I would now give the floor to my colleagues from DG Move and Digit, Ines Maillard and Nicolas Schriek. And I ask the technicians to stop sharing because they will have their own presentation. So thank you very much and enjoy the training. Ines, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Perfect.
I think Nico will be displaying a few slides afterwards. So on my side, first of all, welcome everyone. I'm really happy to see you again after our December sessions, which I think were really successful and helpful to you from the feedback we received. So I just wanted to make a short introduction on why we are here. So the objective of this session, as Ivona explained it very, very well, is of course to follow up on the training we delivered back in December to you, and especially to collect your feedback following this training, because normally if you attend this session today, it means that you tested our interface or EU portal, and that you have some comments and suggestions to share. So as a short recap to everyone, you should know and you should remember that on the 8th of January, we launched our testing environment. So we sent an email to all participants of our December sessions, giving a link to access a test version, let's say, of the portal, of the interface. And we also gave you the link to a functional mailbox to share your comments, to share also your struggles sometimes when you had technical questions or you were blocked on the system. What resulted from this is that we know that some, as requested, some national associations have organized trainings for their members, for companies, and also individual companies, as a result, tested the portal themselves. So following this testing from you, we received some feedback. So thank you very, very much for taking the time to write to us. Most of the time it was extremely constructive to hear your feedback. And it made us discuss internally on what changes we needed to implement. And that's everything we will be talking about today. So to share more about how the meeting will be organized, one of the main principles is, of course, we want this meeting to be interactive. And we want it to be well organized because there's a lot to talk about today. You've seen the interface, it offers a lot of possibilities. So we will be working today by category. What does it mean? It means that you see in the interface that there are several tabs, several possibilities, and we will display each category. And under each category, we will present so far the main comments we received from you. So basically, there were some categories where comments were numerous. I can think of, for instance, the registration process or uploading drivers, for instance. So for under each category, we will present the comments received. Then we will let you know and we will share with you what we did, because we started, of course, implementing comments and feedback received from you. So we did our homework. When there was an issue, Nicolas' team really tried to fix it immediately. And when there were also suggestions for the future, we took them into account. And maybe this will be my last point for this meeting today. I think every time you think about the comments and the feedback you would like to share with us, please keep in mind that there are two categories. There's really the immediate feedback that we need now, that is for the good functioning of the interface. For instance, I don't know, a mandatory field that you believe should not be mandatory because it doesn't exist in your member state, a translation error. Those things are extremely important and urgent as of now because they need to be fixed before the interface goes live. So that's the first category. I would say we really need to focus on this. And when the second category is, it's things that we could improve, and I'm sure we can improve, things we can improve to make this better work for you. Let's say even more user-friendly, that responds to the needs of most of you. And when I say most of you, of course, it's on purpose. It means that we also need to keep in mind that something that is meaningful for me, maybe is not for all the rest of the companies. So also keep that in mind. So we are also very welcome to hear about improvements in the future that you would like to see. And really, please do share it with you, but try when you share it with us to make this distinction. Is it something I need absolutely now? Because of rights, I cannot choose the interface, or is it something that I would like to see ideally in the future to help handle this process on a day-to-day basis? So I think that was pretty much it from my side. You receive Nicolas will run the show today as last time. We are here also to answer to any more specific question, and I will now give him the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I will start sharing the presentation. We'll share the screen. Okay, so move those videos aside. You should see my first slide with the topic that Ines covered. Do you copy?
Yes, we do. We do. Perfect.
Okay, so moving down the list, as we mentioned, basically we will go through the categories one by one. We will expose the known feedback, and we will try to list as well the work that we have done in that direction, and then we will give you the floor, so section by section. Starting with administrative issues, you have been numerous basically to report some troubles while registering, and it came basically to multiple aspects, I would say, especially related to the EU login account creation and the company account creation, the confusions between the invitees to the account, and the fact that we had an error that was redirecting you to the landing page. We will cover this in the detailed sections, so one by one. First of all, I would like to congratulate, as Ines did, basically all the support and the feedback that we received. Your feedback was very well appreciated, constructive, and allowing us to go in the right direction. We also personally appreciate the positive remarks that we receive on some of the functionalities that we try to expose to you. Also, we can see from the statistics of the usage of the site that you have been numerous as well to play the game and be basically the trainer of some of the economic operators following these sessions that we shared with you in December. And that is also very much appreciated, especially for the few economic operators that you managed to put up to speed. For the others, as we mentioned, and Ella confirmed, the recording of the sessions that we had in December are available on their YouTube channel. And on our side, we are preparing 1 or 2 minute videos each time, what we call how-tos, that will guide you through everything, basically the whole presentation across 7 small videos that will be available in the coming weeks. For now on and until they are actually published, you can use the fully use the material put at disposal by Ella. Anything you wanted to add on this point, Ines? You are muted.
No, that's very clear. Thank you.
Okay, so I don't think we should open the floor at this stage on this opening point, but we will go through the entire application feature by feature, and there is a miscellaneous at the end if anything has not been covered. Starting with the creation of the accounts, basically, as we mentioned, where we received a lot of feedback. First of all, we have been reported some fields that were not applicable to everyone. And those fields are the community license number or certified copy, as well as the VAT number. Knowing that we have identified a national company register number to be a field which is common to everyone. So for the production release, it's not yet available in training, but both the community license number and the VAT number will be optional. The national company register number is mandatory. What we ask you to do when you will fill in your account is to fill in those fields if the information is at your disposal. If you do not have those fields in the production platform, you will be able to let them empty. For the current version, which is in training, the 3 fields are mandatory. So if you want to continue to use the training environment, you can simply copy your national company register number in the 3 fields. As well, the transport manager, we were asking for a certificate of professional competence and its issuing country. Both fields have been put optional for the production version. Again, if you do have a certificate of professional competence, please indicate it. If not, keep this field empty. We have as well introduced, and it is available already in training, the management of special characters in all fields, so including the company identity numbers, but especially for the address field. We think about special characters by comma, dash, slash, dot, anything that was not accepted previously. We have as well improved the support for the international phone numbers. For any reason it was not working for all of you, we have actually introduced this basic format where we expect a plus, the country indicator, and a phone number. No space, no parentheses. There is also an error message indicating the expected format. The feedback that we receive regarding the registration process, so many issues reported related to the creation of the account, the company account, and the invite process. Also, most of them were due to the confusion between the EU login account, which is your personal individual account, and the company account, which is the identity card of your company. While we expect an EU login account to be created for each and every user accessing the platform, the company account has to be unique and has to be created only by one person of your organization. What we have taken as an immediate action is we have shared basically a PDF that was a little bit simplifying the process, or at least segregating the two. The direction we have taken was to ask you to first create your EU login account, and once your account was created, to initiate the process, either to create your company account or basically follow the instructions received by email as an invitee. We are as well preparing how-to videos that are almost ready, that should be ready by the end of the week. So the videos are ready, but we try to publish them by the end of the week. And where we explain, again, screen by screen, step by step, how to create your EU login account, how to fill in this company account page, and also illustrate the different screens that you are supposed to see in a normal process. We are as well reviewing the error messages. So first of all, attempting to avoid them. So we have identified some catches that we could put in place to allow the process to resume in case of a problem. Most of the issues are due to the fact that your account, EU login account, is not finalized, or they're related to the syncing between your EU login account and your road transport posting declaration user profile. Again, recommendations, always create your EU login account before you start your registration. And when you face an issue, basically restart the exact same process. So for instance, if you are within the company creation account, if you encounter any problem, click again on the creation of the account. The account is created only once you see the dashboard. The same as for an invitee. So when you receive an email and asking you to register, you click on the link. If there is a problem with the syncing of your EU login account, you will lose this process. If you click again on the link that you receive by email, everything will resume and complete successfully. As I mentioned, three major type of errors that we had during the registration. So unavailability of the EU login account, or potentially the session took too long and you lost basically the track of the process, or you opened basically you completed the session in another browser tab. So that was creating some issues. We are working on them. as well as there is an additional step when you create your EU login account, which is to set your password. And some of you basically initiated the EU login creation, but did not set a user password, meaning that the account was not effective. Recommendations when you have an error within the creation of a company account, click on reload the application and click again on the blue button, create an account. You will arrive at the exact stage where you were. Your profile will be finally loaded and you will be able to complete the creation. If the error occurs within the registration of an uninvited user from email, as I mentioned, go back to your mailbox, click again on the link, and then your profile will pop up and you will be able to continue. When those errors are occurring, you are actually at the last stage of the registration process, so very close. What we are trying to do, as I mentioned, is to avoid those errors to occur and try to address this before the production launch. Recommendations, finally, you have here on that slide that we will communicate to you as well, the links to create your EU login account. Regardless of the communications for the access to the production environment, please already register your user. It's valid for you as an economic operator or an organization willing to create a company account, but also for all the users who would have to log into your account, meaning your employees, your colleagues, the person that will assist you in your administrative procedures. Short FAQ, who must create an EU login? Basically, as I mentioned, it's all the road transport posting declaration portal users. So everyone who should access your portal account need an EU login account. Who must create a company account? Only one person of your organization, ideally the representative or the administrative person in charge of that. So only one person per account. Actually, you cannot create two company accounts because your national register number is used as a key. So if you were trying to create two companies with the same number, the system would reject it. Who must get invited? So any other person beside the person that has created the account that needs access to your company account needs as well to be invited. And this will be done via the user registration menu of the portal. The users will receive an email for that purpose. And who can access the white button that we have on the landing page, this go to my account? It's accessible to all registered users. So first of all, you need to be either the creator of your portal or you need to have been invited and have completed the registration process. So basically arriving to this screen where we see the dashboard, it means that you are fully registered. Next time you will access the portal, you can go to the landing page and click directly on go to my account. If you have only one account, so one company, you are a user of one company, you will directly be logged in to your account. If you have access to multiple companies, you will see a menu that authorizes you to select the company you want to log into. Before I continue, potentially we could open the floor for questions. Any questions on this point?
You have several in the chat. I don't know if you see them, Nicola.
Okay. Let's see. So where to start?
From the last one, because then you can go up.
The last one, and we can go up. Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe just keep in mind, participants, it's important to ask questions about, of course, the section we are talking about, because I saw a few bar dedicated to another part. So if your question is not taken, it just means that we will answer it later under the relevant section.
Yep. So the links, if you don't, so I can show the links again, but they will be shared with you. Just show them as we continue. You will anyway receive them in the presentation. So I see a question related to the number of trucks and so on. I propose we cover this when we will talk about it. About this section, this question in Portuguese, I think anyone could translate to me. Or maybe someone could say it in English. If you write in the chat.
Yes, probably invite those that are writing in the chat to raise them.
Ah, okay. So you don't see. Do you see the chat displayed on the screen?
No, we don't.
No.
It's a black box. So
okay,
so we
sorry.
see the chat on on our chat. But
okay, so see the chat on your end. I will not display it on the screen anymore. Sorry. Where do we start then? After 6 months, should a company simply duplicate? Okay, so about the posting of declaration, we will touch it in the right section. Please ask your questions about the registration process or share your feedback or comments related to the creation of the account and the invitation of the users only at this stage. Is there any question of that kind in the chat? I'm trying to look at the list. So would it be possible in the real environment to create profiles of non-existing companies in order to explore the possibilities of the real system for organizations of carriers? So it is completely possible to create a fake account as soon as you are not using a registered number that is already existing, or you are using your own company number. However, you cannot submit. If you were submitting, those declarations would go basically directly to the member states. So you need to be very careful when you do so. And either you create a company and you simulate the actions, so you can definitely create, you can copy, you can delete, but you cannot submit. There is no virtual country at this stage. Maybe that could be an option that we could discuss, Ines. Allowing basically a submission to a virtual country to avoid this kind of mistakes. So you were asking for the links, they have been displayed.
There is one question, Nicola, about why should you create an EU login to be able to do that?
Okay, so the EU login is actually the authentication mechanism that is used for EU applications. That's a common application. If you are using other tools provided by the Commission, that will be exactly the same tool. And that is replacing your user password. The advantage is that the user password is completely segregated from the application itself. So from the road transport portal, you do not need to maintain the password within the application. You will manage your EU login, and your EU login represents your identity. You have also normally multiple ways to log in. For instance, you could have two-factor authentication with your phone, or it could be linked to your EID profile. That is not the case today. I'm not even sure if it works, but potentially it works actually. The idea is that your identity is verified by EU login, and EU login is informing road transport that you are well the right person. Does it answer the question?
And with one login, you can enter many EU services, including this portal.
Yes, correct. Correct. So if you were accessing another EU application, you would already have your EU login. So you would follow kind of the same registration process where we bind your user EU login with your application user, but you don't need to create a separate account. You don't need to maintain a separate password, which is normally much easier and also much safer. When I choose my preferred language in the portal, then log out and log in again, the portal does not remember my preferred language. I have to set it up every time I log in. Is it something that can be fixed? Yes, actually, thank you for this feedback. We did not receive it so far. We can definitely persist your preferences. I will take a good note of that.
There is one question, Nicola, about managing several companies.
Okay, what is exactly, so I see a question for the copying of driver. We will see it later. What is the question about managing?
The colleague says, if I manage several companies, will I get emails if requirements come from member states, or will I have to enter every single profile to see if there are some issues pending?
Yeah, so we will go in details of the notification mechanism, but I will just reply to this one. It's an easy one. So you will be able to manage your preferences for the email reception. The request for documents notification is mandatory. So you cannot actually opt out of it, and you will always be notified by email as soon as you are a user of the account which has received a request for documents. But I will go in more details when we will touch the section. Is there any other questions related to registration of the account?
Nicolas, there is one question about the creation of different carriers accounts. I can read it and you can tell us if it's under this section or not. So it says, when you create different carriers accounts, it is not possible to move from one to another. You have to go all the way back to your home page in order to be able to do it.
Can you repeat the question, please?
I think it's basically when you manage several company accounts,
Yep.
that you always need to go to the home page, to the welcome page to select your company, and you cannot manage it throughout the system. But I think this is for a good reason. I think it's very important you know which company you are managing, and that if you were seeing all the data from all the companies,
I think I lost you, Ines, but I will reply if you don't mind. Actually, in order to select a new company, you have multiple options. First of all, if you go to your address bar, basically you click on the address bar and you press enter, you will be prompted again to select a company. What we are introducing is a new link, and that will be available normally already for the production version deployed by the end of the week. You will have a menu under your name, so the small icon on the top right, where you will be able to select a new account, another account. And you will be able simply to go back to this selection page without logging out. What Ines was indicating is we tried basically to be very clear on the account you are on to not get misleading information about a driver that you would have declared for one specific account, but the same driver would have to be posted within one of your subsidiaries and you would forget about it. So that's the reason why the name of your company is always clearly indicated on the top right. And we ask you to explicitly select a new account if you want to switch your environment. But again, two options. One is basically to refresh your page. So you can do it by refreshing your browser or clicking on the address bar, enter. And in the near future, you will get this option, select account, from your user account itself. So top right, you will click on your icon and select another account. Any other questions?
Yes, Nicholas, there is one question from Poland. It reads, unfortunately, it's impossible to create the company account based on the EU login account, which has been already created. Is it required to create a new EU login account in order to create the company account, or it's possible to use the one which has been created before? If yes, then how?
Okay, so there is, so if you try to create a new company, there is no problem actually, at the contrary. So your EU login account has to be existing, and your EU login account can be a member of multiple accounts. I demo it actually in the trainings, where personally I have access to multiple companies, and I simply go back to my landing page and I create a new account. My user will be recognized as already registered, and I will be able to move forward. So if you have an error, please let us know, but normally there is no problem. If we have time, I will take note of that. If we have time at the end, I can also show you. Okay, any other questions? We have 8 sections to go through, but I think that's the most important, or one of the most important.
Nicolas, sorry, I was kicked out of a meeting because of connection issues. I see a question in Spanish. I don't know if you responded to it. It's about this issue that they cannot access, they have access denied, an error message when they're trying to log on. I think everything is in your PDF, right? It's an issue. It's the issue that has been reported back to us. So please, if you have this issue of access denied, go to the PDF document we sent you and follow every step we described in that document. Maybe very important also to remind that there will be specific video tutorials with subtitles in all languages about the specific step of first creating an EU account, an EU login account, sorry, and second, creating your company account. So this is very clear for everyone. But again, we took into account that issue, and this is being fixed, and it should be really now clear to everyone with the guidance we will be releasing.
Okay. Any other questions? I don't see any questions we have not covered related to that section. So the EU login account that you have created for trainings was actually created, as you can see, against the acceptance environment, which is a testing environment of EU login. That explains as well some of the connectivity issues you had, because it's less robust as the production version. It's a completely separated environment. So the EU login account that you have created for training cannot be used for production. That's the reason why I actually already indicated here the address of the production EU login site. So you can already create your account on this platform. The PDF that we are talking about, if I understand well the question, is a PDF that is summarizing step by step what you should be doing, especially segregating this creation of the EU login account from the creation of an account on the portal, creation of your company account.
Yes, normally those PDF were sent to participants of the last sessions in December. So if it's not you who attended, maybe your national association, they should have forwarded that to you. Okay, it's available in we will try to make available in several languages. For the moment, the translation is not the best, but this is to be able for you to see it as soon as possible. I see there is another question about the creation of an account. Maybe to remind everyone one last time, is when I create an account, do I have to put the name of a physical person, so of an individual, or the name of a company? I think it's again all this concept about EU login. First, you create your EU login. It's you as a person, as an individual, your name, your first name, family name. And second, once this is done, you can create your company account. And here you put all the details about your company, the name of your company, the number of your company, etc. So it's two different things.
Okay. I agree that we should post this PDF somewhere handy, either on your site, on DigiMove, or on another site. I will proceed with the next section, if you agree. If you have any things to say still on this section, please raise your hand.
I would only repeat maybe the request to post the questions in English if possible, because it really would make the training easier for everyone. So if possible, please do it in English. For the participants, of course.
Okay. I see a question about the driver names in Cyrillic and in Latin. I will answer it section by section. So the first section was related to the company account. So in your company account, you can use any character. There is no restriction. The subtlety and the differentiation between Latin characters and non-Latin characters is only for the drivers and only for the sake of making the roadside check the most effective as possible, where we ask you to enter on the driver non-Latin name the exact spelling of your name in your native language, so the controller or the roadside inspector can compare graphically that it is matching what is on the declaration. Cyrillic is not necessarily something that all roadside inspectors are understanding. Moving to the EU login versus company account, so that will give you some clarity. So actually we covered it. EU login is for individual. So it's you as a person that is equivalent to your, basically your ID card. It's your identity. The company account is representing your company. Again, so EU login, it's one per user. The company is one per organization, per company. I don't see if you see some red marks on my screen at the bottom. I don't know what happened. I think I took some drawing sessions. Inviting users. So who is invited? As we mentioned, there is the creator of the account. By default, it will be automatically added as a user of the account, as the primary user. This user has the ability to use the user management module of the portal to send email invitation to other users. Those invited users will receive an email asking them to follow a registration process. So they will click on the link, they will have to authenticate with their EU login account. Their EU login profile will be retrieved, displayed on the screen, and they click next. And normally they are added to the portal. If the process fails for any reason, go back to your mail, click on the link again, and the process will succeed. Any questions on the inviting users process? I don't see any in the chat. I will then proceed with modification of the company account. So in the application, again, so first of all, you create the identity of your company. You decide, you fill in the company card with the national register number, which is the key information that we will expect in the future. Today, we are asking three informations, as we mentioned, your community number and a VAT number. If you do not have a number of that kind for the training environment, you can just replicate your national register number. In the production environment, those fields will be marked as optional, so you will not have to fill in them. You can precise on the same document the address of your company as well as the identity of your transport manager. If you want to modify those information in the future, you need to go to your account menu, which is the one of the last icons of the left menu of the portal, where you will get access to your account details and you will be updating them automatically, as you have the obligation as an economic operator to keep those information up to date on your declarations. All the declarations that are valid and or for the future will reflect all the changes that you bring to this account. That is also something that we demo in the videos. Any questions about modification of the company account? So I see a question about the possibility to delete a company if an owner of a company has changed and the previous one of the company does not want to cooperate. So you want to delete, if I understand well, I think you are talking about deleting a user, not deleting a company. Can you precise the question? So deleting a user, it's completely possible. Actually, that is the reason why we are also asking you to be very, very careful, because if you were basically adding the wrong person to the account, that person would automatically get full power on your account, on your company account, and could potentially kill you, so remove you from your own account. So be very careful on that. Any user on the portal has the possibility to delete another user. So as soon as we have two users in the company account, we could, in your case, remove the previous owner of the company and invite the new owner of the company. There will be also soon, actually there is already the possibility to delete an account. I don't know if it's available in training, but that will be available in the first production version. Any account that has no submitted declarations can actually be deleted by default. If you do have already submitted a declaration for a driver, you will need to wait for the expiry of this declaration in case there would be any control. But after 1 year, you will be able to delete your company account. So you modify your company account, automatically the system will take those changes into account. Do you need to resend all the declarations to your drivers? So there is no obligation to send it. Your driver can simply explain to the inspector that he has some details have changed if he's questioned. When the inspector on the road will scan the QR code, he will display the updated version of the declaration, and all the changes that took effect will be basically displayed on the screen of the inspector. So there is no need to send all the declarations again. You can, if you want, to click of a button on the interface, but that's not an obligation. So as an agent, could you create several accounts with one EU login? So the answer is yes, you can actually. So that's the principle of being member of multiple accounts. With one single EU login account, you can actually create multiple company accounts. If you want to create them on behalf of your members, that is an option. Please remember that so far we are actually supporting only 100 companies attached to one EU login account. If you are facing the limitation where you have 200 companies to manage, you can also either split the workload with one of your colleagues and you manage 100 accounts each. That is certainly a realistic situation. Or you can create a new EU login account or separate EU login account that will manage the other 100. For the moment in the system, there is no possibility to manage more. So the limit is potentially a little bit above 100, but we don't recommend you to do it. The system has not been built to manage thousands of accounts. For instance, there is no search on the account selection page at this stage. If the needs are raising and if we receive this request and we see that there is a significant need, we will certainly look at options to fulfill that gap. I see a question from Armando about permissions of the administrator, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't understand exactly the purpose. I'm not speaking this language.
I think that he says he's asking whether all people that are entered into the system have the same permissions, all these invitees.
Yes, yes. So you as an agent, please be very careful while creating accounts on behalf of your clients. They need to understand as well that you have full control over the application. Today, there is no role management implemented in the application. Everyone is full administrator of the accounts. There is no viewer mode where you could simply view but not do a certain type of actions. This has not been implemented because the application has not been built for that purpose, at this stage at least. And there is a last question that I can't read.
Is from who, Nico? I can help you.
From Juan, the last one.
It's more a comment from Juan. He asks if he says that it would be more useful and helpful if you could actually share the interface, the page of the interface when talking, so they can see what you're talking about.
I can quickly, if it helps. The thing is, we are currently deploying a new version. So I don't want to enter into the Microsoft effect when the application is stopping at the time I'm presenting. But I will show you, basically, I will quickly go.
You see, it's not an easy job. So many considerations with those IT systems.
Okay, I will log in. To my EU login account in test environment. So please never try to access tests. So on this portal, as you can see, I have multiple accounts. So I have already created 9, 11, 13 accounts. I will go to my Nimix Max account. That's a new feature as well that we have introduced. On this version, you see we are on version 165. The version that you have access in training is 149. So you have 16 versions of delay. You don't have all the features yet in training. Here, we have ordered this page alphabetically, and that is what the production release will show as well. What I was showing, I think, previously was the modification of an account, where I go to my account, I can modify any of those information. And as you can see, I have already modified it multiple times where, for instance, here, I changed the transport manager phone number from this to this. That's one change I've done. And to do so, you click on Edit. I will go back. I will try to switch regularly to the presentation. That was about the modification of an account. Any other questions about the this?
Doesn't seem like it, Nico.
Have you seen my screen, Ines?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
really well.
Okay, management of drivers. So first of all, we come back to these special characters in address fields. That is something that we have introduced during the training period. We have actually allowed you to enter, as I mentioned, dot, commas, dashes, slashes, and any other special character that you will need to precise an address. That is available in training for the manual entry of a driver that is not yet fully available for the bulk upload. So we share with you this remark. On the driver details, we have put the driver card optional. So you do not need to enter the driver card. If your driver is equipped with a tachograph and he has actually a tachograph card, you need to enter the 16 digits of his driver card in that field. If it's not relevant, you can waive it. On the identification documents, we have received some feedback from some of you that some documents in some countries do not have an issue date, some do not have an expiry date. For that purpose, we have put both fields optional. Please fill in basically whatever is present on the ID of your driver. That may be an information that is expected by the inspector on the road. If the document, for instance, I heard that the citizen card in Portugal has no issue date, but has an expiry date, then please fill in only the expiry date. Any questions?
No question directly on the mandatory fields, Nico. Again, about drivers, but we're still not there yet.
So we have here a question. So we are talking about the manual addition of driver. So I will try to switch to the drivers. I will show you how to manually add a driver. I click on add a driver. I can put an internal number, which is, if I want, optional. I will put here the name of my driver. It's Nico. And if your driver has a name in non-Latin characters, let's say in Greek or in Bulgarian or any other language, you can basically write it here in that field. That field, if you try to put a non-Latin character in that field, I don't have any character ND here, but it would be rejected by the system. I will try this one. Will it be? Yeah. So you see, mu in Greek basically is not accepted by the system. If I want to have someone that is called like this, I can put it in that field. It will be accepted. That field, first name non-Latin, has to reflect exactly what is written on your on the ID of the driver. I will just put a name. Name. I will choose a date, so you can choose the year, you can choose a month, you can choose a day. This combination of name and birth date will become the unique identifier of your driver in the system that is allowing you to identify homonyms. So you could have two persons in the company that have the same name. The likelihood that they have the same birth date is quite low. Should it happen, you can still add a character to differentiate your drivers, but normally that should not happen. So type an address as well, an email address. If you fill in this field, it will allow this declaration to when you want to print a declaration, to indicate already this email address. You won't have to type it. This email address will not be displayed on the declaration itself. The driving license number is mandatory. So it's my drive 1, 2, 3, 4. The driver card, as you can see, is now optional. Document type, I will choose ID. I can put an ID for his ID card. Issue date and expiry date are not mandatory anymore. I can choose a country, which is, in my case, Belgium. I can put a street. And I can also now put special characters if I need to precise the address. Postcode, city code, and country. Start date of the contract, basically when you sign the contract, and what is the applicable law. And that's it. Are you sure you want to add a driver? Yes. So you have created manually a driver. Any questions about this section?
Nico, there are questions about how do you how do you identify the unicity of a driver? I think you explained it during your presentation. But there is a follow-up question actually. So there was another question about the internal reference of a driver. So this is something you put on the first field at the top of the page. So you should also, so now you should get the answer to your question. And a follow-up question about how do you know the driver already exists in the database? So if you're talking about your own database, I think you're showing the menu. Here you have a list of all the driver, right? So you should have, of course, an internal management and know when you have a driver is in there or not. If you are talking about the EU portal, for instance, you know your driver also works for another company. This is, of course, totally independent. You will not have access to the profile of a driver created by another company for obvious reason of data protection. So if you know that this driver also works in another company, if it doesn't change anything, you still need to create his profile as for any other driver. So do you confirm that a unique driver is identified by first name, last name, plus date of birth? Nico?
Yes.
That's what you said, yeah.
Yes, so it's so basically those fields are representing the key here to identify. Previously we had the driver card, but as it hasn't been removed, then we can't rely on this driver card anymore. So now it's basically based on the name, surname, and birth date. That's also what you will retrieve from the list of drivers. When I will actually try to create a declaration, I will have to select a driver, and that's what I will find in the list. Okay, any other questions about manually importing a driver? I will move on because time is passing by. I have seen a question about the bulk upload of driver. So that's a good transition to my next slide here. So we should be. I will move to this bulk import of drivers. So today, as I mentioned, we have not yet fully deployed the support of special characters in the uploaded driver. It may be in this test version, but I did not get an update from my team. Basically, how it works, you click on this button, you download an Excel template. This Excel template is composed normally of multiple tabs. As an improvement, we will segregate this Excel template and we will basically make the distinction between the help and the description of the file and the template itself. So it will be even easier to use. My Excel is opening, as you can see. And where is it? Okay, it's here. So in this Excel template, you have the instructions in all languages. It's not yet translated, as you can see. And at the bottom, at the beginning, you can see here an example and the template itself. The idea would be to put the example in the template, so you can actually have something that is working, compose on only one tab. I will actually show you here. So what you need to do today, but that will not be the case in the future, is to delete all the instructions once you have understood what it was. So it tells you exactly what kind of format is. Need to edit.
So maybe just to tell everyone, if you are a rather large company, it's very important part of this session. Please look at the Excel file because you will very likely be wanted to use it to upload all your drivers at once.
So this file here, language by language, will tell you exactly what you can do. It will tell you if the field is optional or mandatory. I will check if we have put the driver card optional. You see, so it's optional now here. And it also tells you for specific fields like date of birth, what is expecting. So we expect a date under the format year, month, DD. And that should be explicit. I will delete everything. So actually, I will show you how to simulate it. You delete all the tabs. And you keep only this template. What you can do once you have this file, I will try to do it here, but maybe it will not work. You take looking for a file that is containing some examples. I will just check on my application if I have not uploaded the data yet. So I have 55, so I'm pretty sure that I already uploaded something. I will just create an example for you.
In the meantime, Nico, maybe you could answer the question, is the bulk upload of drivers also supporting the special characters?
Yes, so yeah, the production version will. Today, no, today it does not work, or maybe it is, as I mentioned, that's a feature that we are about to deploy. It has been corrected already for the manual import, but the special characters still need to be supported for the bulk upload. That will be in the coming hours, I would say, supported. Today, I cannot confirm it would work. I will just, again, just show you a brief example here. I will create one row. And that's my reference here. ABC, my driver will call Jenny. I will put a birth date. She is born in 74. And I will keep the rest identical. That should be accepted by the system. I will just change his ID as well. I will try.
In the meantime, we also received very interesting questions about, is there a limitation of number of drivers for the upload of drivers? So maximum number of drivers you can upload.
So it has been normally done for thousands of drivers. What could happen when you upload is that's basically the front end. So the UI is telling you that it's completed or it failed because of the timeout. But the job in the background will actually process the remaining. So first of all, you are not that many that have thousands of drivers. Maybe a solution for you could be to just have templates of 1,000 drivers. So when you import them, it is a smooth process. Several hundreds of drivers at a time, that's a regular test I'm doing, so that there is no problem. If you get this error on the screen indicating that it was not successful, wait a few minutes anyway, and control, basically monitor your list of drivers. They should arrive. They will be processed in the background.
Okay. Other very, very interesting questions we received. A comment actually. I noticed the portal only allows to upload drivers if the Excel file is in CSV format.
No, as you can see, I'm manipulating Excel files actually. So that is not, you see, it's a XLSX document. So normally there should be no problem with this.
Okay. Typically, if on your end, I don't know, you try and the problem still persists, you can maybe contact our functional mailbox, because as you see, it's not normal. There are also other questions about another good one. Can you use the bulk upload more than once, or must you add drivers one by one after the initial upload?
You can introduce multiple times the, so you can bulk upload multiple waves or bulk of drivers without problem. What you cannot do is actually upload multiple times the same driver. If you try to do so, basically that's exactly what happened to me. So it told me that there is a key here that that I did not modify, which is already used in the system. So we prevent overwriting existing information. And the key reason is when you are sending your drivers, posting your drivers will be attached to the declarations. If you were overwriting this information, it could cause misleading information or mismatch. So what we authorize you to do today is a bulk import, multiple bulk imports if you want. But if you want to maintain the data, so far you will have to maintain them manually.
Okay, another question. What will happen if we do not fill in a field that is not mandatory? For instance, email address of a driver. I can take this one. Nothing happens. For instance, the email address of a driver is totally for you, for your internal management, and to send automatically the declaration to your driver. So if a field is not mandatory, you don't have to fill it in. On the other hand, if, for instance, you have a VAT number, it's not a mandatory field, but you don't fill in, I think you may receive questions in case of checks, because the principle is, if you have information, please share it. But this, the fact that some fields are not mandatory is to cater for different businesses, because, for instance, for the VAT number, we know that smaller companies in some member states don't have a number, so it's to cater for them.
Okay, so I completed my registration of drivers using bulk upload. As you see, we have our Jennifer added with a new birth date. In that case, I had basically introduced all the fields, but as Ines mentioned, everything which is not mandatory basically is not, you don't need to fill in the Excel file. Okay, any further questions on the bulk import?
There was a hand raised from Poland, from TLP.
Yep.
So please, yeah. The floor is yours, TLP. We can't hear you. Maybe there is a problem of connection. We can't hear anything.
If TLP cannot speak for the moment, we have another good question about the modification of the data of an existing driver, which is already used in a declaration. So you have a driver in the system and you already submitted declaration for them. So I was reading the question. I think we didn't reply to it. So it was about the modification of the data for an existing driver, for which a posting declaration has already been submitted. Is it allowed to do modifications or not, and how? Manually or bulk upload? Maybe just I can take the first part, which is, of course, it's allowed to do modification, and it's very important to do so because your posting the declaration must always be up to date. So if the ID number of the driver changes, it must be reflected in the system. Nico, you can take the second part about
how do you demo do it in
perfect.
Actually, so I will post my driver. When I imported my second driver, I don't know if you realized, I did a spell check on my own family name actually. So that's the PT. When you will see that if I take Nico from the list, I forgot the I here, Srini, you see. So I will use my driver, basically, which is erroneous. There miss a I here. I have no email address. I will just submit my driver. I will claim that it is the same transport manager, and I will create a declaration. I'm creating a new declaration. My declaration is here. I can actually submit my declaration. Submit. Yes. And I will reopen my submitted declaration. So I open my declaration, which is now submitted. As you can see, I realize that the spelling of my driver is wrong for any reason. What I can go, basically, I can go back to my drivers. I can identify my driver in question. I will edit his profile here. I never tried to do so. Let's see if it works. Save. Yes. And I can go back to my declaration. And I realize that my driver information on this submitted declaration actually have been reflected. So all the documents that are currently valid with basically a posting period which is in the future or current will be reflected. The reason why we do so as well and why we don't change the past, imagine that you have a driver woman that is getting married and changing her name. You would want basically to reflect those changes on the future declarations, but not on the past declarations. So that is the reason why we apply that rule. Does it answer the question?
I think so. Okay. And about the bulk upload, can you make this change via the bulk upload? That's the follow-up question.
No. So we cannot modify entries via the bulk upload. And the rationale is when actually I have this row in that table, we have a link between this driver, this exact driver, and the declarations. If I was trying to delete this driver, I want to delete my driver, the system normally should reject me. Delete failed, invalid request driver has at least one linked declaration. So I cannot. The only one way to do it would be to go to my declarations and basically cancel this declaration. I would go and I would withdraw it. And maybe even withdrawal would be not enough, but let's see. So I withdrawn my declaration. Can I delete my driver now? No. So the file that it has been withdrawn, it is still linked to the system. So the only one way to modify would be to go manually. That's certainly something we can do. We can improve in the future, especially if you have if you want to be able to modify your data. The problem we would see in that case is we could rely on your internal key. Basically, that's also the reason why we introduced that internal key. Is if you change the name of the driver, imagine that we don't have any way to make the match and to know exactly which row it was. So using the internal key could be an option. If the bigger organizations are taking the habit of introducing a unique key and being sure that that key is unique, we could certainly enhance this bulk upload modification process and make it feasible in the future. Any other questions? I see another hand raised. I was not part of the collection of the requirements. Those initial requirements have been gathered by the expert groups, representative of all countries, and the availability of APIs, basically, so programmatic language interfaces, were not part of the requirements. So the site has no APIs available today. If the need was reinforced and supported by multiple economic operators, definitely we could foresee something in the future. But is in this first version that has been based on the initial requirements gathered, there is no API in place.
Maybe I can add something, Nico, because I think you also need to understand the work that is required behind the creation of an API. The creation of this portal as such a user-friendly tool has been really a run against the clock, raced against the clock. So there was no way that on 2nd of February, an API would have been available, because it would have too much work, too much resources in such little time. So that's the first thing. Second of all, as we said, we collected feedback in the expert group where there is a European Organization for Employers Association, national association, and this need for API was not mentioned back there. So we couldn't, we're just learning about it now in the last few weeks. So you understand it's too little time to make it available in the near future. As I said, we are, of course, always open to such a request. It's what I said in the beginning. But here, I would really classify this request as things for further improvements in the future that relates only to those companies with big numbers of drivers. As I said, we are not against it, but definitely not something we can put in place in a very near future. And on this, we would welcome any feedback, suggestion, more extensive feedback from you in the future. Thank you.
Yeah. So I see two questions here. One question is about a driver that is not working for you. So that's the case for Jennifer here. Basically, she has not been posted. What I can do, I can click on the bin. I can say I want to delete her profile, and our profile will be deleted from the platform. So that is the case for a user that has not been posted. If someone has been posted based on the rule of the need to know, that driver has to stay in your system for 1 year after the posting period. We will certainly in the future offer some options to systematically delete all the drivers that have not been posted. Today, this is not possible, but I think we have still 1 year in front of us to make it available. And in the future, you will have that option where you can basically clean and delete everyone that is not working for you anymore. So on a paperless company, first of all, we could wonder if you should not send it by email to your drivers. If you do want to do so, there is one icon here, basically where you just click that button and it will automatically send it to your driver. You don't need to print it. You don't need to save it locally and then to transfer it to him. If you want to give it in hand, basically, then you will need to click the button and print it. Imagine that this platform is not configured with the driver of your implement, your printer, basically. So that's the reason why we have this feature, which is leveraging the browser itself, where your browser is already configured to print. If you open this PDF, again, you don't need to save it. You can simply go on your PDF and print it, and then your printer will open. So if you do want to print, that's the way forward. If you don't want to print, you can simply send it by email with that click. We could imagine as well sending systematically everything automatically to your drivers as soon as you submit something. That's a feature which is not existing, but if it was, if we had some request, that's something we could programmatically implement. I had also a question about the QR code. The QR code contains security information, which is only available for the submitted declarations. As soon as you will submit something to IMI, especially to the competent authorities, this we will have enough information to generate the QR code. If I open a document which is not submitted here, as you can see, there is no QR code on the screen. That also maybe allow you to not confuse a submitted declaration from a declaration that is still in draft. I think we are going away from our agenda. If you don't mind, I will come back to my bulk upload, which was the current topic, and we will arrive to the submission of declaration at that stage. Is there any other questions about bulk import and management of drivers?
I think most of the feedback now relates to submission of posting declarations. Yeah.
Good transition. Thank you, audience. Management of declarations. First of all, creation of a declaration. So I will do it again for you. You go to your declaration section. You click on create a declaration. You select the country in which you want to post your driver. I will post my driver in Bulgaria. You'd select when the posting is starting. Remember that when you will use the production site, actually, as it is already implemented, I cannot select a date which is prior to the 2nd of February. So you will be able to prepare everything. You will be able to submit your declarations, but they cannot be for a posting prior to the 2nd of February. So you need to use your existing systems, but you can already prepare everything post 2nd of February. That will be your sole system to be used. Normally, I have here, yep, you can see that I cannot go further than July, basically. Why? Because the maximum length of my declaration is actually 6 months. So I can choose my 6-month maximum period. I can select my type of operations. I have the choice between cabotage and international carriage. I can select both. I can also select transport of goods, and I can enter my plates. A feature that we will implement here will be the possibility to type, so copy paste a list of plates that are separated by a semicolon. That feature is not yet in place, but we will try to make it happen for the end of the week, or very early after this launch day anyway. So you can add as many plates as you want. We have already received many feedback. I would like to type 2,000 plates. If you do so, I believe that the declaration will be so big that the agent will, the inspector will lose his time, and he may be fining you basically. but I don't think that would be very well appreciated. I don't think there is any problem to reference 5 or 10 plates if basically you need those information on your declaration. I will show you after how to reuse those information if your driver is actually always using the same tracks. I will add a third one on purpose.
On this, maybe a little also comment from my side, because we really want to be transparent with you on this number plates of vehicles. Again, when we first showed the interface back in May to our expert group, where they are representative of companies, we never received the feedback that a driver would happen to change number plates of vehicles basically a lot. We were confirmed that this doesn't happen and that only 1 or 2 number plates would be needed. And this is exactly why we have developed this tool in that way. Now that you tested it, we have indeed received a lot of different feedback, so it was a surprise for us. And of course, the system has not been designed to answer to your needs of, for instance, putting 25 plates and linking them to the driver. But again, if this is the feedback we receive, and we know it's important for the majority of company, we will look into linking the number plates of vehicles to a driver in his driver profile. In the meantime, I think Nico has a solution for you, which is, of course, that if your driver always drives the same 10 motor vehicles, you can copy the declaration he will show you and reuse that data for all of the member states where the driver is posted.
So I will continue and I will take the questions at the end. So as you see, the list of drivers is filtered by name, and we make the distinction between the homonyms using the birth date. I can certainly find my Srini user here. So I have 2 users that are basically almost of the same family. As you can see, they have 2 different birth dates. That's the one I'm looking for. When you select your driver, automatically all the information related to that driver are retrieved from its profile. You can introduce an email address at this level if you wish. I strongly recommend you to maintain the email addresses within the list of your drivers, because it will save you a considerable amount of time as it will appear by default and you won't have to type it. For the rest, as you know already, everything is automated. We already retrieve all the information that you need to retrieve for posting. If you summarize basically the posting information to those fields, as you can see, it takes a few seconds normally to declare a posting. That is going in favor of basically facilitating your life when you have multiple posting. I will show you again 2 kind of 2 functionalities that can allow you as well simplifying your life. I have posted my driver in Portugal at this time, so he will be using, in our case, 3 trucks here, and he will be posted basically for the 6 next month. If I want to post my same driver in Romania, I copy the data.
Call me on the phone.
I change the country Romania, and I scroll down and I save. Yes. So how many seconds did it take? 3, 5, 10, and I got my 2 drivers. I know that Nico will actually be driving with someone else in Romania. They will be driving the same trucks, but there will be 2 drivers. I can go to my declaration. I can clone it. I can basically keep everything identical. So I had an error here. I will just reload. Clone it. Okay, I believe my colleagues are working on the platform. I see the functionalities are disappearing. They are deploying a new version. So I'm not sure I will be able to show you, but normally we are able to copy the declaration and the
I think
information.
we showed this last time, Nico. So even if it's
Yeah.
not available,
Okay.
but yeah, please keep in mind, because it's really most of the questions we receive, like what if, what you can copy the declaration and reuse all the data that Nico is showing you on the page, and just change the country, for instance, and then it creates automatically a new declaration. Maybe I see there were questions about the sending to the driver. I don't know if you want to take them now, if we need to move on to
we can take it.
Okay, we are in the middle of posting creation, so now is the time to raise your question about it, and we'll come back to the previous ones. I think it was when, so it was a comment, when you submit a declaration, it is sent on a first stage to the driver without a QR code. It is only when you submit it to the corresponding authority that allows you to send the declaration with a QR code to the driver. It's a bit confusing, and I was wondering if it's going to be changed in the future.
So, so first of all, you don't need to send it to your driver without the QR code. So the time you have not submitted your declaration has no value. So it's just a paper. If you want to submit it, you click on submit, and at the same time, you click on send declaration by email. The version that you click, basically, which is presented at the moment you click, is containing or not the QR code. It's you who decides when you send it. If I click now, basically, my driver will receive a version without the QR code. If I submit and I click then, it will contain the QR code. So you do not need to send it first. It is not sent automatically. It is you who decide when it is sent. As I mentioned, we could introduce potentially a parameter at your account level where you can specify, please send systematically all my submitted declarations to my drivers if they have an email address, and that will be allowing you to save basically a few clicks.
Sorry, Nico, I interrupted you.
No, that's it.
Because we have another question that is directly linked to that. It's when does the driver receive the posting declaration by email? Right after its creation, regardless of its start date or some specific time before the start date, for instance. So maybe let's be clear on this. It's not after its creation. The driver receives the posting declaration automatically if you put an email when it is sent to the member state. So as Nicola said, if you don't submit your posting declaration to the authority, it stays there and it has no value. So it's very important.
You need to click on send declaration by email. If you don't click, you will not receive it as well.
So it's also you who chooses when you send it.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions?
Here, basically, it was said that the driver, creating a declaration does not automatically mean that the driver knows that a declaration has been created. He has to receive it in one way or the other.
Yes, of course. And it's also another comment we received in the past. Can driver have access to the system? Would be easy? No, not at all. It's your responsibility as an operator to handle this. And drivers are only required to present the posting declaration at the roadside, either in paper or in digital format. So this is why you must ensure that they indeed receive it, and until they get it in hand, on paper or by email in electronic format, they don't know it has been created. So it's very important. It is your responsibility as an operator.
Okay. I propose we carry on with the presentation. We have still 10 minutes before we conclude. Any other questions I should take for this?
Yes, there's a good one about how far in advance can I create a posting declaration? So what is the maximum date that, for instance, on the 2nd of February, I can choose?
I think there is no limit, so you can select whatever you want. You see, I can go basically to 2045 and claim that in March 1st, my driver will be posted until basically 25 March 31st. There is no limit. So I can say it will be in Austria. I can say we'll do cabotage of goods with one plate. I will just try if it works.
Yeah, really depends on how well organized you are internally. You can go really far in time.
Create. Yes. And I have basically prepared a draft here for 2045.
There was also a question about it would be interesting to select several countries at the same time to send the posting declaration. We received that feedback. We will be looking at it, but of course, again, it's huge change, so it's not going to happen anytime soon if it can be done. But thank you for your feedback.
Today we have introduced two functionalities until basically we come to an agreement on what would be really helpful for you. First will be the copy paste of a list of plates where you will be able to paste basically something looking like this, separated by semicolon. And the system, when you will press enter, the system will basically fill in the list for you. So it will split all the values. Another another feature that we implemented is as part of this copy, when you know that someone else will take basically the list of trucks of your driver for a new mission, you can reuse the plates that have been already entered, just modify the driver and actually send someone else instead. So here I will basically send Amanda will basically reuse exactly the same trucks as my colleague, and you can then create a new declaration. So that's the two options that we found to simplify your life. I'm pretty sure you will come with better ideas. Please come back with your feedback, and that will be very helpful.
Sorry for before taking over hand raise, I see there's a very popular question in the chat about what is the purpose of entering vehicle registration numbers. Of course, this is not something we added ourselves. It is mandatory. It is in the directive, in the e-legislation. So we are required to put it as mandatory field on the declaration. And we understand it creates burden in some way for you, but this is just something we cannot change. So it is in there. And now it's up to us to look at ways of facilitating this for your day-to-day management, which we'll do.
Okay, I think we were talking about the creation of a declaration. I will move down to the list of points of the agenda. There are plenty of other accounts to show you anyway.
I have a question from the chat about the creation of declaration about the QR code. Does the QR code change if we update some data in the declaration?
No. So the QR code is composed of the ID of the declaration and a security code that has been created when we have submitted the document to IMI. So the combination of the two keys is basically behind the QR code. Those information are not changing. So you can update the declaration as many times as you want. As soon as this is the same driver during the same posting period, posted in the same country, that will not change. Okay. I can take further questions, but I will move on with the presentation. So we reviewed largely the creation of a declaration. We reviewed the submission of a declaration. Any questions about the submission of a declaration? No.
No, doesn't look like it.
Copying a declaration.
I think you've shown that. I think is it clear to everyone? You can. It's a very, very useful
I think
functionality.
we have another consideration is that the declaration has to be unique per driver, country, and period. So while we could conceive the possibility to create a declaration with 3 countries, and the application would automatically create 3 declarations, this certainly can be easily implemented. You would still end up with 3 declarations. 3 declarations that you would have to send to your drivers. Each declaration has to be shown in the appropriate country. And remember that the rationale behind this is only the member state hosting your driver is able to see this declaration. So basically, if you post your driver to Belgium and France, 2 declarations will be generated, one for France, one for Belgium. The Belgium authorities are seeing only the fact that your driver is posted to Belgium. You will not see that he is actually posted as well to France or any other countries. But I think you have a very good approach, collaborative approach as well. Please do so, regroup, share your experiences, come back with concrete requirements so we can open the discussion and certainly come to a conclusion.
Yeah, and thank you, Nicolas, for clarifying this point. We clarified it last time, but I reiterate, whatever system we choose, it's impossible for you to have one declaration with several countries on it because the legal requirements are clear. It's one declaration per driver, per member state. So you will end up with 10 declarations if your driver is indeed posted in 10 member states. But what we can facilitate is, of course, the submission. You talked about this idea of clicking on the member state, selecting it, and if exactly the same information are relevant for all the different member states where your driver is posted, it makes total sense. But keep this restriction in mind, because this will not be possible legally to have a declaration only one document for several countries. It will be separate ones, vice for sure. Thank you.
And remember as well that this 6 months is actually a flexibility in the law. Normally, you are supposed to declare all the posting period per country independently. If your driver is posted 1 month in France and 5 months in Belgium, and you create a declaration for France and Belgium for 6 months, it would result for the French and the Belgium authorities to be able to ask you for supporting documents for 6 months. While actually in your case, in France, you would have had to report only on 1 month and justify the occupation of your driver for only 1 month. So that's a side effect of using always this max period. And that's also the reason why there is no button, give me the max period by default. It is your responsibility to choose the wisest period for your posting. Going back to my agenda, do you have any question about the copy of a declaration? Nope. I move on to the withdrawal or deletion of a declaration. Any question or feedback regarding this? As a reminder, the data will be kept for 1 year in the system. So that's, again, based on the need to know basis. So remember GDPR. We have the need basically to know about those information until the legal aspects are closed. And that will happen 1 year after the posting. So you cannot delete a declaration prior to that date. And if you have a withdrawn declaration, that will be still visible in the system for 1 year. Actually, they will also automatically disappear after this period. So no need nothing to do on your side. If you want to especially delete something that you have created, which is in draft mode, simply click on the trash bin. If you want to delete something that has been already submitted, you need to open the declaration and use the explicit withdrawal option. I will move on to the next section if there is no questions, which is the management of requests for document, which is something that you have not experienced on the training environment. I will see if I think I killed basically the account that had something interesting to show you. I will see this one, and this one has no request. So normally, if you remember the demonstration, you can go back to the videos. On this section request, you will receive the request for documents that will appear here. They will also appear on your dashboard here for the new request, and you will receive an explicit email indicating, so all the users of your account, of your company account, will receive an email indicating there is a request for document that is arrived. You will have 8 weeks to provide all the necessary and requested documents. You will receive an alert basically 2 weeks before the due date, and you will also have here the overdue documents, basically the documents that are in the past. I think I remember an interesting feedback that we received from one of you. I'm not sure we handled properly. Someone suggested to have all the requests for documents widgets on the same side of the screen. And I think when I see the screen, it completely makes sense. We could imagine the new request and then the due in 2 weeks and the overdue on the right, and then deal with the draft declarations about to expire and expired on the left. I think that's an interesting suggestion that I will note and action on it. Okay, any questions about the management of requests for documents? If you do, I can try to find an example on my different accounts. See if there is not one. So you see how I'm switching, I'm actually refreshing my screen, and automatically I should arrive to my landing page where I can choose another company. I click on my company, automatically my new profile is loading, and you see that I've changed my company. As I mentioned to you last time, actually the feature, you see how my guys are good. So they actually implemented the switch company account button. I've never tested it, it's brand new. I click on it and I should arrive to my selection page. Wow, brand new feature from today, I guess. Okay, so let me try to go to this company, and I should have, I have request for document here, so I will be able to show you. I can either click on those sections here, basically like new request. I have no new request. However, I should have documents. Why I have nothing? Oh, I have one actually that has been provided. So I have one request here. The way it looks like, if you remember, there is this summary with the periods until when you have to provide a document, the period which is covered by the request, the list of documents that are required. You can go to this view details where you will be able to upload the documents. Section by section, you see 3 types of documents that have been required. You can see what you have submitted. Once it has been submitted, it cannot be deleted anymore. And when you are done with one section, you click on send to verification. It will be sent to the national competent authorities. And if you have an issue, you can go to the chat box where you will be able to exchange messages with them. Indicate the language in which you are typing, indicate your message, and send it. So a small compliment as well. What would happen if you had submitted something and actually for any reason it was not working? We have the full history on the declaration. If you were fined for that purpose, I assume you could actually prove with the history of your declaration that you have not touched anything, that it was well dated from a previous day. However, a declaration that has not been submitted has no value. So remember that. If you were forgetting to send your declaration and you claim that it was in draft because the system was not available, that would not be receivable by the road enforcement. And on our side, we do all our best to provide a very successful and performant system. We will be able to support dozens of thousands of simultaneous users. So you should not have any problem of performance. You know how it is with IT. Problems may still happen. but we will always do our best to provide you the best services. Any questions about the management of requests for documents?
I think there is a very good one, Nico, about what are the acceptable formats for the documents that you can send to authorities.
I think that we supported everything that was making sense, I would say. Words, Excels, PDF. For the tachograph, I think we are supporting as well a specific format. I can try to do a quick test here. If not, I will review the exact requirements. I will just try to see if the system is still open. If I can upload.
While you're doing this, I can maybe add a few elements of clarification to questions that we already clarified in December, but let's do it again. So on the language of the interface and on the update the documents, you will receive the request for documents in the language you select. The interface is available in all EU official languages. Then you will have to submit documents that you have in the language of your choice. You do not need to translate the documents that you will send to authorities. We really made that clear. In case you want to use the chat functionality, there will be a sort of a chat. You can talk to the authority. You will also be able to write in your own language, and the authority, imagine you are writing to a Spanish authority and you're a Polish operator, the Spanish authority will receive the message in Spanish if they chose Spanish as the language to display the system. So this is, of course, an enormous improvement compared to the national systems you were used to use, because the language barrier will definitely disappear for you.
Okay, so I managed to create basically a case where I tried to upload a document which is not supported. And I will tell you exactly what are the supported formats. So the error message goes very quick. That's basically what we are supporting here. We are supporting CLP, CDX, doc, GIF, HTML pages, image, GIF, JPEG, MAC, message, MSP, ODT, PCT, PCX, PPM, and those other formats. I see that we are supporting actually a zip. So whatever would not be accepted by the system, you can still zip it. If you do have in mind a kind of extension which is not supported here, that is a standard of a tachograph, for instance, we can definitely add it to the list. Anything that you would see obvious that is missing? No. Okay, so let's go back to the presentation again. And unless there is another question, we are reaching the end, by the way. I'm thinking about our interprets.
Yes, exactly, Nicolas. I just wanted to, I'm trying to contact our technicians just to request whether our interpreters can still stay with us for 10 to 15 minutes maximum. So in case it's a problem, please write to us and we will continue in English. But
So I will continue in English myself then.
yes.
Management of requests for document. We are very close to the end anyway. So I think we covered the topic. You will know more via the how-to videos that we will share with you, and that will be clearly summarized. And if you have any questions, you can refer to the training videos. You can refer to the training materials, to the FAQ, and last resort, you can call us. Dashboard. Any questions about the dashboard? So I will briefly share it with you again. This dashboard is composed of 6 sections, as we have seen here on the top. They are key indicators related to your declarations and requests for documents. They have embedded links. If you click on their labels, that will automatically direct you to the right section and filtering the data on what you have selected. So here I have selected all the drafts. I can then refine my search if I want. I can go back to my home page. I can actually access those other indicators, the charts. One chart is indicating how many of my drivers have actually a declaration assigned to them. So that is still in trial mode. That is supposed to be refreshed nightly if you're actually removing some declarations from the system. That will be normally always up to date for the declarations that you are adding. What it means that the pie chart is appearing green when there is the drivers that are not covered by a declaration. And as you will submit your drivers, you will get basically a reflection of how many of them are covered. You can see here a breakdown of your declarations, how many are still in draft, submitted or withdrawn. You have also an indication of how many expired recently. You have the request for documents, how many are closed, provided, or requested. Any questions for the dashboard? Nope. Next one is about notification and email services. I have one subsequent slide. So we have two types of notifications. One is within the overall application, where, as you have seen, there is a small bell icon that is indicating that you have messages. Each time something is happening that is popping up on your platform, I will show you now the ability to mark them as read. And we will also improve that feature, so you will be able to paginate and navigate through the history of all the events. If someone, for instance, has deleted by mistake a user, we will be able to refer to the notifications and see exactly who did it. That may be important for your own investigation. You could also, for instance, list everything that has been done by your colleagues over a certain period of time. Today, you have access to everything that happens, and we are limiting the display to 100 last notifications, but we will improve it. For the emails notifications, I don't know if you noticed it when you did the training. At the bottom of the emails you receive, there is a link that is allowing you to actually select what kind of information you want to receive. And you will see that behind this service, email notification, we are using a tool called CNS, Corporate Notification System, which will regroup all the emails you receive in three families. One family is related to your accounts and users. This option can be opted out, meaning that if you don't want to receive any email related to company changes or users joining your account, you can go in your settings and click on uncheck basically this option. You will not receive any more of the emails. For the declarations and requests for documents, all the automated emails are available under two options. One is instant, meaning that you receive instantaneously as soon as there is an event. And the other one is basically what we call digest feed, which is a summary that you will receive at the end of the day. So instead of receiving 20 emails, at the end of the day, we will just send you one simple email with a summary of everything of that kind. Imagine that you receive two requests for documents, they will be both available. Okay. Any questions for those notifications? I will show you actually in practice. The pity is that I don't have any activity on this account. I'll try to find another one. I think that's the same one, but I will just create a quick one, something that should generate. Meanwhile, you can raise your questions. I see you have no question, so I will then quickly go through. So the notifications that you receive in the email, they are not instantaneous. It is a mechanism of push. So they are gathered in the background of the application, and they should pop up. I can't tell you exactly how many seconds after. If you want to refresh, you can go on the notifications, you can press explicitly this option. We see now that I have actually received one notification, you see, it is active. If I wanted to mark it as red, I just click on this icon and automatically everything will be marked as red. So that's a feature which is not available in training today. I go back to my presentation, and I think I'm very glad to tell you we are reaching the end, and which is about the other points. Other points, I will briefly go through a few things that we already listed from your request, limiting the number of notifications to other users. So meaning in the future, you will not, so that's at least the proposal, you would not be able to see your own actions on the platform. You would just be notified by the actions of others. I've seen a raised hand. I will take it in a minute. Removal of some mandatory fields, so that's already been taken into account. So we removed, especially the company and the driver, some mandatory fields. Ability to copy and paste multiple license plates, a list separated by semicolon, that's in development. Allow for multiple transport managers. So that's actually interesting, because that's a feedback we have received, but I don't remember any question today about ability to have multiple transport managers. That's also for our working force that has been formed previously. That's also something we would like to hear you about. Finally, so today we don't have the possibility to have multiple transport managers. However, we have this functionality of other person of contact. We recommend you to use that functionality. Also use the copy of a declaration option, so you don't have to enter the data again if you wanted to reuse this information. We discussed about deletion of a driver. You see it was already listed that we would like to have this ability to delete multiple drivers at once. And also a nice remark that actually there is no delete button on the detailed view of a driver, when in the future we will also allow you to review a driver, confirm that's the right one, and click delete. Submission of declaration, we have also already listed the ability to bulk submit declarations. That's already part of the list. I thank you very much for your attention. I hope you will have enjoyed those complement of information and taken the best out of this session. I give now the floor to Ines. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicolas, for this extremely comprehensive overview of the improvements and issues we have identified. I promised in the chat I would make a point about the video tutorials and all the guidance we are going to issue. First of all, everything will be on the help page of the interface. So we will have a link to the tutorials that will be available in 24 languages about the questions you frequently ask, etc. It is not yet available online for a simple reason, is that if you have followed closely this presentation, you see all the improvements that we've made. There are several things that have been done. And of course, they need to be reflected on the tutorials, because there's no point in doing something that doesn't reflect the real portal. But we are nearly there, promising it's almost there, and we should soon make it online to the help page of the portal. That's one thing. Another thing is that please be aware that we carefully read all the questions in the chat. I saw many questions that were coming from you that we didn't answer, but that were clarified in our December session. Following this, all the questions in December and the questions today that were in the chat have been integrated in a document, in a frequently asked question, and they will be also available on the help page. We're talking about 20, 30, almost 50 questions that you will be able to access about how long my declaration must last, in which language must I submit my documents, all these things. So really, that will be available on the portal. And finally, thank you very much for having tested the interface, for having participated today. I am extremely happy. Also see that we created a momentum where you're going to liaise together and also get back to us for feedback, because really our aim is to make this tool work and work in the best way for you, and we are committed to do that and always available to make it happen. And finally, just myself, I would like also to thank the interpreters for all their hard work on such a technical topic. This couldn't happen without them, and thank you for the extra time. We are very grateful. Ivana, maybe I give you back the floor. Thanks for organizing from my side.
Yes, thank you everyone for participating and also making it happen. From our side, just a final word, because we are really late. We will try to upload also this information session on our European Labour Authority channel on YouTube. When you go to YouTube and you search for European Labour Authority, you will find our official channel there, and this video will also be uploaded there. So for, in order to maybe refresh your knowledge afterwards, please be also informed that according to the personal data protection rules, we would probably need to cut out some interventions of the participants, so mainly focus in the video on the presentation made by Nicolas and Ines. So, but just for you to understand, unfortunately, we are also bound by some restrictions. However, please follow us on these channels, and we will get back to you with all the information. We have the mailing list, so if there is any new communication with regards to the availability of the materials, we will communicate also via email and the social media channels that I mentioned. So thank you again, everyone. And we meet, of course, again on Thursday with another group of participants who registered to this second session, which is, as I said, identical with what was said today, but with another set of languages. So thank you, and let's be in touch. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.